Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And Bluedragonfive. Over 10 years ago, as The Dark Knight changed things forever, we lost the actor who made it happen. Heath Ledger delivered the ultimate performance that left us eternally wanting more. While we all thought we saw the last of his portrayal as the Clown Prince of Crime, two men unearthed amazing footage of what he might have done next.
The job falls to us to comb over the files and documented exploits of Patient 4479 and this ultimate tribute to the role of a lifetime. Let's start today's session with Lost and Found footage. Dragon, you know I love that pun. I love that pun.
I'd be shocked if you didn't.
Okay, so there might be some people in our audience because I know our Batman Beyond recaps have been getting pretty popular. So if y'all don't know what this is, just to give you a refresher on it, Dragon, it's basically a fan film, right? Like not a fan film, but a fan series, a series of films. And basically the premise was, what if Heath Ledger's Joker continued on in the Dark Knight in the Nolan Dark Knight universe?
Basically, what would happen after the Dark Knight if Heath Ledger were still around? So basically, how would that have kind of impacted the trajectory of things? When this thing came out, it was right after the Dark Knight. Right after obviously we all went into that movie knowing he wasn't going to be around. But basically, it was like in that period. This thing was like coming out fresh after the Dark Knight when it started. And there was no Rises on the table, and then of course we get the season 2 of this, and Rises was on the table, and we're kind of filling the gap. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and much like we do with our Batcave Beyond show, Dragon, you have watched all of this, and I am I'm giving my fresh takes. I'm watching through it all for the first time. So this show's kind of like a little bit of like a supplementary show to the animated Batcave / Batcave Beyond. All right, with that in mind, Dragon, Lost and Found footage. I like this. I don't love it the same way I loved the last Found footage episode. I do think we have some good bits in here, though, make no mistake. We certainly have some really fun stuff with Lockup, a good Joker scene. I don't know. It's like it's all good stuff. It's just I feel like we've already kind of like maybe reached a peak when it comes to like how the found footage stuff was implemented with the last episode that strongly used found footage. So I don't know. Like again, this is all good stuff. It's not like I was sitting here bored the whole time at all. But I don't know. It wasn't really captivating the same way some of the other found footage episodes have captivated me, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But again, it's all solid. I'm not saying any of it's bad. So. All right.
Yeah. So there's not a whole lot of context here, at least not everything I can get into with this one. But let's just say this is the last full, as in like a full-on episode, kind of like Technical Difficulties, which is the other one you're referring to, the big Lex Luthor episode in which we're kind of with the Intrepid kind of the news crew along with Lex.
Dragon, as you know, I love that. Like, I not only did I love that episode, I made the bold statement that I stand by that episode featured some of the best found footage camera work I've ever seen.
So that's the thing. So it's twofold, because you got to remember these two episodes, both found footage episodes, are very much companion pieces, because where that one ends, this one picks right up. So that's something to bear in mind. But yeah, this is the last full-on, like as in like from start to finish, found footage episode of the Joker Blogs.
I guess that's appropriate given the title and the ending and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So just to get like full on. That's not to say we're not going to get like bits and pieces.
Sure.
This is the last like start to finish like we got we've been getting, because again they've introduced we're doing the non found footage stuff this season. We've been kind of playing around with it. And we're kind of building to the cinematic kind of like we're getting close to the end. I'm going to tell you that much. And that's the thing. With that in mind, we're going really cinematic with that ending.
I believe it.
I'll say that much. Anyway, so this So yeah, this also pays off a lot of Lyle stuff that we kind of set up all throughout season one, and also the Jack Ryder story, and it's
Yeah, definitely a lot of payoff for sure.
thematically it kind of relates to, in a sense, it kind of relates to the gambling thing the Joker was talking about, in kind of this 3-step kind of like kind of program about uncertainty that he's been kind of laying out while he's been piece by piece reclaiming his makeup and kind of his visage that we all know. So he's so yeah, he's basically, it's kind of relating it to gambling in terms of like sorry, just looking at the comments while I'm saying this. So we're basically, it's kind of like the last time Joker spoke about gambling, in the sense of like, Jack Ryder, the last time he had a Joker encounter, it went remarkably well. All considered, it went well. This time around, Jack Ryder is not so lucky being in the thick of things. He's been shot, and he's been shot while shooting things. he's yeah, his luck's kind of run out this episode.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So just to address Richard's victims, Tiki, why are you saying the episode is the worst thing to happen to society? Yes, that's exactly what saying that this is a good episode, but not particularly the strongest episode I've seen of this show. That thank you, Richard's victims. You've exactly translated my 2023 internet dialect. How astute of you. Okay. How long did the series go? Because I know it started in like 2008 or 9.
Well, essentially, Richard's Victims, it was kind of on and off for a lot. There was
the first season dragged on like a number of years, right?
Roughly 3 years, I'd say. Roughly, between it starts. Here's the thing. Technically, it starts in 2009, but I think sorry, let me rephrase it. Technically, I think it starts at the tail end of 2008, but it really takes place during 2009. I have to double check to make sure I have my numbers right there, but I'm pretty sure the idea is like they saw, Dark Knight came out in July.
Mm-hmm.
So they get started roughly, I think it was September, because obviously we have a little bit of October going on there, but things took so long. When I think of the October stuff, I believe I'm thinking of 2009. So I think we just kind of started things around that time, and then we were kind of towards the end of the first season in 2009. Then basically things completely wrapped up with all the aftermath and epilogue and stuff in 2010. But again, I'd have to check.
But then I'm assuming there was a little bit of a hiatus before season 2. Yeah,
exactly. I remember when they're starting season 2, Rise is kind of like is being filmed and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were allowed to get they were allowed to get kind of a peek at the script for Dark Knight Rises. They weren't allowed to see the movie, but they were allowed to know what's going to happen, so they could kind of, because there was such a groundswell of support for the Joker blogs. There was like everyone and their mother was like sending letters. They were doing all these tasks, these related videos, in which it was like a viral marketing campaign, which of course very famously helped Nolan out during the Dark Knight.
Oh yeah. Oh God, that Dark Knight viral marketing campaign, Dragon.
That's the thing.
Dragon, we could seriously do a podcast just on that viral marketing campaign. It was a game changer, bro.
We have to talk about the cakes and everything. Which does make me wonder, is that why we put a gun in a cake in this show? Okay.
And yeah, Richard's Victims, you're right. 2007 would have not made sense, because I believe at that point, the only stuff we had of Heath Ledger's Joker was like the very brief stuff we got in the, the teaser trailer that just had the "some men just want to watch the world burn," and then like that poster, of him behind the glass with the "Why So Serious." I'm pretty sure I think the teaser, the second trailer, Dragon, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the second trailer, the main trailer, came out like January of 2008, I want to say, and it was like shockingly close to his actual death.
I believe so. I believe that's what happened.
Now, within a couple of weeks of each other, I think. It
was either a month to a few weeks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, it's funny. He does make that the 2007 thing, but it's funny. There is another fan series. It's not as extensive as this. It's more like it's really just 2 fan films that was kind of like multi-part, because the way YouTube worked back then, you couldn't have a video that exceeded like a certain.
Oh yes, good old YouTube.
So really, it's just 2 movies that.
Right.
And the idea was that basically it was around. I forget if The Dark Knight had come out yet, or was like right on the cusp of the Dark Knight coming out. And essentially, it was based on the trailers and everything. And the premise is, what if two Bat fans, like friends, maybe I think they might have been roommates. These two friends were hyped after obviously Batman Begins and everything. They were hyped into going to the Dark Knight, and basically after the initial trailer came out for the Dark Knight, the initial one, I'm pretty sure, might have been both, but I'm going to say the initial one because I think you had that Batman Begin kind of footage at the top of the first one. Anyway, point being, the one friend watches and rewatches the Dark Knight trailer until he becomes the Joker.
Oh God,
that was the gag. And again, this was back then, folks, but that was the gag.
All right.
Okay, so all that's it. Let's dive into the recap.
So the episode starts just very fucking abruptly, Dragon. Like you said, picking up right where we left off. Yes. Jack Ryder shot by lockup. Not good at all.
Yep. Okay, so that's not good.
Right, exactly.
And of course, for the kids out there, because we should probably mention it for posterity's sake in this case. Jack Ryder in the comics becomes the Creeper, and we gave some skeezy elements there, like a little bit here and there in the idea. He was.
But I also like that at the end of the day, they didn't really make him a bad guy, and they gave him a somewhat heroic death.
Which again, the Creeper was never a bad guy either. He's always on the fringes, but more so.
At the very least, I feel like they gave him a sympathetic death. At the very least.
Sure, and his alter ego, of course, is always a newsman, so he kind of had like an arc to the aspiring.
Okay, now I'm just picturing his alter ego basically being the Constantine version of the Muppet Newsman.
Oh God.
Oh God, Dragon! Just picture like a Fox News, just evil version of the Muppet Newsman.
Anyway, the Rupert Murdoch of Muppet.
Oh God. Okay. Oh God. Now I just want to see a Muppet Newsman show. Seriously. Oh God. That writes itself.
Here's the question:
We don't want to see an actual. But what? Do
you want to see an actual Muppet Newsman show, or do you want to watch this bizarre, warped version of the Muppet Newsman show you just laid out?
I want to see an actual Muppet Newsman show because I want to see how other Muppet news people interact.
Okay.
Anyway. Like Dragon episode 8 of Succession, the election episode. That, say what you will about the politics of that episode, but it was very interesting from the point of view of seeing how a news operation worked.
What happens when the graphic doesn't work?
Exactly. Watch out for the wasabi, kids.
Oh God, that was anyway. Okay. Greg.
Oh God. All right. Anyways.
All right. So. Getting back on point here, basically this episode with the found footage format here is it's the journey of the camera trope in the found footage.
Yeah, which I do really like, Dragon. It is one of my favorite found footage tropes. I believe it or not, Dragon, I actually use this very same trope in my own shitty found footage movie that I filmed at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom.
I buy it. But yeah, so this is something we've touched on very lightly at least twice in the Joker blogs, in which the camera is just it's kind of found, and we just kind of pick up what happens to it next. Usually, you literally pick it up. Where when Joker escaped, we had the whole Find Patient 4479 video where the camera's like static and on the ground, and we homage that shot here, where after Jack shot, we do the link up, we leave the camera there set to the really not. By the way, Arkham creepy as all get up, but you know what? The elevator music, it's very on point.
Sure.
Anyways, the point was the cool elevator music. We see like the blood pooled and everything on the ground. So it's kind of an homage.
The camera distorting just makes it all the more, hectic and nerve-wracking.
Which again, that's kind of like what we did that last time. We had like a distorted camera effect while it was stationary, but we kind of went full tilt. That we didn't just like pick it up and have like one person standing. We didn't just keep it in the elevator. We kept it moving. That's where we kind of go outside of the realm of what we did last time. But then also the only other time we did something close to this vaguely was Dr. Arkham pointing out that's my camera when it was in his car. So we've taken the camera on a road trip, but not like in the same shot essentially.
For sure.
Okay. So again, journey of the camera, but this is like a literal journey of the camera thing. We're just kind of following it, where it's kind of changing hands and stuff. All right, so again, we got some. There are a lot of homages between the Jack Ryder story and the lockup story here, and then we have the cross section between the two in a sense here, where Lyle Bolton has shot Jack Ryder. Jack Ryder's been whisked away, and the camera's found by Lyle Bolton, and we've
So,
given.
Dragon, I just want to point out, like, seriously, the arc of Lyle Bolton in this show has been a delight, man. He's always been one of my favorite characters. And this episode has just been like, it's just a great culmination because I got to admit, like, if you remember last episode, I was a little bit like lukewarm on him going full lockup. But I think this episode, because we see more of him in lockup mode and because like the performance is very calculated and clear at this point of what he's trying to do with it. It really works for me, Dragon. It's really working. I don't know. I'm really loving this this lockup stuff.
You know, it's weird because it's so weird. I'm on the fence about lockup because I do see what they're going for, and I think this episode is the culmination of that. But it's still.
I think what they're going for, from my perspective, is they're going for like he's more badass in his own head than he's actually coming across, if that makes sense.
Well, no, that does make sense, but I mean that's kind of where that's kind of the rub for me here, in which it's I like I think the idea of like lockup with a camera is great, and him like philosophizing. The idea that lockup, of course, remember lockup was created for the animated series, and he's a Paul Dini idea. So I believe he's at the very least, Paul Dini's idea, and then it kind of was taken by the other writers kind of ran with it. I believe I think that's what happened there. Anyway, so point being, the idea is lockup is very close-minded. He's very pro imprisonment and everything, obviously. And the idea is this guy is kind of a very warped version of Batman in the correction system. He's the
definitely.
He's basically, can we get an Arkham where the criminals actually won't escape? Well, what if we did the overcorrection of that, which is we get lockup. We have a Batman within Arkham who goes crazy. And we kind of have that here, but more so it's the idea that we kind of explore a little bit in Batman the Animated Series, because he only appeared in one episode, that we get to explore a little bit more here in the writing, because the guys who wrote this, DeVary, who is in this episode as well, as Ted, we'll get there, he loves the Animated Series, and I can see where he was pulling from here, where the idea, him calling it the liberal media and everything, the idea of lockup's very, very right-wing. He's very, he's very just... He thinks he's really smart, in which he's not. And I kind of wish we pulled back a little in the comedy earlier in Lockup, so this could have sang a little bit more, where we had, like, from the beginning, we had that weird Skype call thing.
Uh-huh.
Which is always, to me, that was always the low point of the Joker blogs. For me, it was like the one episode was like, oh, man, that's where you kind of take the found footage thing. We just kind of like, the idea is good. The Bullock's like on his date there, but then it's just like, it just feels like a weird way to combine those stories. And it made... We took Lockup from like a really cool setup and really intimidating to, man, he's just really goofy now.
I don't know. I Dragon, it's funny that I feel like we're kind of coming down on it on opposite ends, because for me, I didn't like obviously I've always really liked the Lyle Bolton character, just, from season 1. But then like with the Lockup stuff, I wasn't feeling it until he went full ham with it. That's when I was actually on board.
I mean, sure, that's what I'm saying. Like, he should go unhinged. I guess what I'm getting at is the thing for me is I think his dialogue was really good. I think it would play more if it was just a little more like dark comedy versus like him going full tilt, going like full bonkers with it. I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it. Still, he's committing. That's I guess he's
you can't argue that.
Okay, so the idea, so Lyle Bolton again being an extremist is very funny. As I said, maybe could have pulled back on the goofiness, but what they're going for though is it's like he's like the campiest son of Batman from the Sons of Batman, like copycat vigilante idea that we had at the top of the Dark Knight, which of course pulls from Dark Knight Returns. So again, it feels like what if we had like the most vocal, silliest version of that here?
I mean, silly, sure, but also like just with the extremist qualities, it's very much like there is a danger here.
No, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying to you. I like that the danger's there, and he does look intimidating. And
like I feel like this guy's a lot more dangerous. It's kind of like a natural evolution of danger from the from the I'm not wearing hockey pads crowd.
Yeah, then this is what I'm getting at to you. This this is the benefit of doing whatever we're doing with Lockup. Here's the fact that Joker turned a straight-laced security guard into a parody of Batman. Ultimately, that's what he's done here, into a campy kind of parody of Batman to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like the idea, like it's kind of Joker making a mockery of what Batman is, and that this is what the rules of society will get you. And I'm basically he cracked like this immaculate sort of like statue of structure, and basically saying like everything that Batman's trying to uphold and everything he's trying to go for here is just it's a joke, and this guy's a walking.
Yeah, he's basically just spewing like it's pretty much like. The whole the George Lopez joke that everyone got so upset about Batman's a fascist. This would be like basically like the realized version of that.
Essentially, yes. Okay, so Lyle is Lockup is in the elevator and he's monologuing.
He's monologuing. You got me monologuing.
You got me monologuing.
Dragon, like I said, I don't know. That's kind of where the camp of this just kind of works for me. I just feel like, like because it's like if you really break it down, like he's actually got some good physique to him, right? And he's heavily armed. It's like if he would just get out of his own head for 2 seconds, he could be able to actually do some real damage.
Absolutely. So, long story short here, he's basically in the elevator searching each floor, trying to match the blood trail. He's basically following the blood trail. So, because he's been tasked with like killing the news crew after he got Lex, which he did. So, let's see. This is the diaries. He finds a camera and he hands it. This is the diary.
I love that. That's another thing that cracked me up. That he just starts instantly doing a vlog.
Yes, like the Iron Fist of fair play. Honestly, if I had to boil it down, is that we kind of write him like a Tick villain, which is kind of funny. Which is just, it was like the Mad Bomber from the Tick. Which a friend of ours has actually
I could see that, yeah.
Which is so funny because a friend of ours has actually played the Mad Bomber from the Tick. In a fan film, but still.
Oh.
Anyway, so the Stuart Rock of neutrality, the weapons of oh god, this is a whole anyway. So let's see. Anyway, so and now sadly, there is a kind of a relevant. I won't say it by name. Sadly, there are some relevant political comparisons that could be made with Lockup. Near is the idea of like kind of an extremist in a costume just doing a takeover of a place. It's not cool, So sadly, some things we were kind of ahead of our time with this. Is my point.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, oh god, that's
purely coincidental.
Crazy timing right there when you put it that way.
Purely coincidental, way before the
life imitating art.
Yeah. Anyway, so then of course here's like the throwback to Batman the Animated Series. The corrupt media, they're tools in my hand, and I'll provide an unbiased, unprejudiced, uncompromising, and he runs out of uns. Discriminatory account of the justice system's failings. No mercy, swift punishment, and of course the door opens. He finds he has like a little giggle, like ooh. Anyway, so he's going out there after this little evil chuckle. All right, so let's see. So, long story short, he's just going there saying he's on the hunt, and he says, all will know my hunger for, and he realizes he's hungry. So he basically goes to, I believe, and again, we can't verify this because all the offices would likely look the same, but they're reusing a set from when we did the Harley Quinn. We're going inside her. We did the whole Harley Quinn kind of Inception episode. We did the whole not Dream Come True, but the near-death experience episode.
Right.
And we went back to her office. They probably was using the same set, which looks identically similar, but essentially we might actually be in Harleen Quinzel's office, which would explain why the Scarecrow's there. So
I love this jump scare with the Scarecrow, though. It's like he's totally just throwing off his machismo.
It's very well shot because if you look
at it, yeah,
just appear because the whole set's dark. He just appears from darkness behind Lyle and just like, oh god, and there's like the delayed scare and everything. The delayed scares makes him look stupid, and I kind of like that. It took him that long to get freaked out. Anyways, and also I believe we're in a bank building still when we shoot this, when we do like all these office shots here. All right, so let's see. So we learned that also before Scarecrow showed, we have this great line about society has spared the rod, and Gotham is now the spoiled child.
Right.
Fear is coming. As he says, fear is coming. Scarecrow shows up behind him. That's really good. That's really funny. Okay, so anyway, so he shows up there, and he's like, well, why are you wearing your mask? Because you have a camera. Why aren't you wearing yours? And again, so let's take a moment here, because his big moment has finally come, Tiki. Cillian Murphy. He's finally getting. Apparently, this meant a great deal. He always wanted to be the lead in a Nolan film because he's always been the side player, and he's finally getting.
Man, that is absolutely like the number one thing that I'm anticipating about Oppenheimer is his performance.
Remember, Murphy wanted to be Batman in Batman Begins, and he auditioned for it. And he got as far as there. Who knows? There might have been there's an Elseworld somewhere.
I mean, even his role in Inception was a little bit thankless, if I'm being honest.
I don't know. I wouldn't say thankless. He was. I mean, they kept him around a lot more than they did the Scarecrow. I don't know. I think that was.
Yeah, that's true. He was just kind of like the MacGuffin, though.
You're right. He was the MacGuffin, but still, you get the sense that Nolan loves working with Cillian Murphy. He's like,
he does, yeah.
All right, Cillian, come to the set. We want to have.
Well, Dragon, the big Cillian Murphy performance that I don't think you've seen yet is Quiet Place Part 2.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, that was man. That was probably like his best work I've ever seen, honestly.
Point being, we love Cillian Murphy, and the spotless casting on the majority of the Joker blogs, they had cast a flawless Cillian Murphy. Even behind the mask, he still sounds exactly like the man.
Very much so, yes.
Miss Toria Heveldson, that's the guy playing him here. Okay, so. Anyways, let's see. So that we learn, we kind of tease some stuff up here that remember he was Harleen came out of the Valley of Fear gas that he doused her with, and we don't know what happened after that. So so the idea is she got away, and Scarecrow's just kind of throwing the towel at this point. Like, you know what? I'm done. I'm out of here. Okay, the plan's gone to heck. I suggest you do the same. And again, this is kind of the survivor in Scarecrow we've seen through the Nolan trilogy, in which Scarecrow, he keeps enduring, he keeps kind of getting out scot-free at the end of the day. So he's he's moseying on out of there smartly.
I respect that decision.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So we see a fleeing doctor, which I think maybe Dr. Cavendish. It's too dark to tell anything in this. I can't tell.
Right.
I think it's Dr. Cavendish because we set up he was running away since the Phantasm at this board game. So I think that's still him finally running down to the bottom level, I think. Anyway, might not be him, may or may not. It looks a little similar to him. Anyway, so Lockup is chasing. We have this great gag where it says, Hey, I want to ask you something.
Hey, I want to ask you something.
Yeah?
What?
They start shooting.
I want to ask you something. About what? Justice. Oh God, Dragon, you know what that reminds me of?
I know what it reminds you of. Oh yeah.
I'm writing a book.
What are you writing?
No, it's about what?
What are you doing? Writing a book about
what?
God.
Oh God. All right. Anyways. Okay. So
sorry,
yeah,
folks,
he's chasing the doctor.
I'm not sure if it's me or if it's him. I'm going to assume it's him.
What? Can you not hear me?
All right. So I guess just kind of moving forward there. Yeah. So let's see. So the point being, we have this fleeing doctor. Lockup is presented with an opportunity to either leave, which is the smart decision the Scarecrow has laid out, or be crazy, do your thing.
All right, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, so the point being, Lockup had an opportunity for change. He did not take it. He chose to be crazy and go after this guy, and it reminded you of the Chick Hogan thing, didn't it?
Very much so. Yes.
That's what I thought.
I'm writing a book about what?
About coffee.
The mix of Romero's mix of fury and curiosity.
This is a relevant reference because Nestor Carbonell was in the
Yes.
Nolan trilogy.
Yes.
Twice.
He will always be Richard Alpert in my heart.
How dare he? You will always be Alex Romero in our hearts. You know that. Come on. Really?
If you actually watched Lost and knew who Richard Albert was.
Fine, anyway.
Dragon, he's the immortal man.
Oh, he's the immortal man. Oh, sure.
He's got a really cool arc. He's got probably a better arc than anyone in the show besides maybe Michael Emerson.
All right, sure.
Anyways.
Sure, he has an arc about staying on an island still. Okay.
Yeah, he does. All right.
Okay, anyway.
Dragon, one single gray hair at the end, and he realizes he's finally aging. One single gray hair. It's beautiful.
Anyway. Point being, again, is play a little for comedy, but still there's a dark gritty in this here where it's like, okay, it's a first person kind of shooter sort of thing. We're following our shooter here, our kind of our you know. It's pretty dark, He's going around there, and we have this, this staff member. He's about to get shot, and he's about to get killed, and then we have a great entrance.
Oh yeah.
We have kind of a very Frank Miller-esque entrance too. By the way, the batarang is we have a batarang in Bolton's hand, which makes him drop the gun. He had like a little quiver in pain as he sees the batarang sticking out of the hand. Yeah.
I love that as an entrance that also wounds the villain. Just very practical entrance. Killing two birds with one stone.
Odd fun fact. Nolan trilogy barely used the batarangs. If you ever
I know. I remember.
We only used honestly, we only used the batarangs. I mean, really once. Technically, it might have been used. We threw stuff at the train. We don't know if they were all batarangs or not. Most likely, it's like thermite explosives. So I don't even think they were batarangs. Personally, I think it was just one batarang. It was cool looking though, and I guess technically twice. He made the batarang and then he threw it once. So he kind of had it twice.
So point being, cool to see it utilized here in a very Nolanized kind of way.
Technically, we have to tranquilize the batarangs all the way in Rise, but it took like 2 movies to get there. So, yes, batarang in the hand, and again we're in darkness, which is kind of cool, and then we have this. So Tiki, what's great about this whole setup? There's a lot of things here. One, we've been building Batman like we have the Joker since we've established that he was Matches Malone on the inside. That's how he got in. That
was a really cool reveal. Yeah.
So again, we're doing it in stages like we are the Joker. So again, we're kind of we
yeah, you're right. I really do like that. I really like the kind of the build up.
Now we're getting found footage ski mask vigilante Batman. He hasn't put on the cowl yet. Because again, we're still kind of the idea presumably still is that we are kind of in that gap where Batman he's easing
he's technically retired.
That's the thing. The thing I always loved the Joker blogs did that the Nolan movies never made clear. It was like a headcanon thing. I like, again, this is feeding the whole thing, as I've said before. Right? To me, Joker blog's so flawlessly done that you could say, this does happen. This happens between movies, and we haven't contradicted anything, really. Is that, Batman, it makes sense that Batman would gradually, because we have to show that he's on the run and hiding and stuff, and then eventually he would, kind of dissipate when there was not a need for him, and we never really made that super. Like, it sounded like immediately we shut off the water, when Batman retired in the Nolan trilogy, which is kind of showing there was a gradual period. So he's probably doing stuff off the books, and if he is spotted, he's being hunted. And the idea in season 1 of Joker blogs, Batman shows up because he's really needed to stop the escaped Joker. I mean, who else are you going to get for that job? Okay. So, point being, it's a clever payoff to Batman Lockup, in which in the first season, Batman saved Lockup from Killer Croc. And, between that and what the Joker is kind of warping his mind and putting him in that situation, Lockup has become the monster. He's become the Killer Croc in a sense, in his own right. The thing that, Batman saved him.
Yeah, you're right. There is some nice parallel there, indeed.
Batman's now stopping
bookends and whatnot.
Yeah, look at those bookends. Look at those bat bookends.
I'm a fan of bookends, Dragon.
Bat bookends. Okay,
all right.
So anyways, I think he thinks he's kind of filling in for Batman. Yeah, with Batman being less seen, Lockup's saying he's kind of doing the Bat's work, so to speak. All right. So we have the night vision. Let's talk about the night vision.
Yeah, really quick with Richard's victims. Let's see. Lost is a bad show. Watch The Wire instead, kids. I've been meaning to watch The Wire, and I think I've said this before. I equate watching The Wire with like picking up one of those super thick, like War and Peace style novels where it's like, I know that I'd probably get something out of it. I just also know it's going to be challenging to get into at first.
You're going to be taking it to the dance class, and you're going to...
And then said, well, never actually watching Lost. No, Lost has a lot of redeeming qualities in it, man. I'd love to actually one day get dragged into Lost. I know it'll never happen, but I don't know. There's a lot of fucking alumni from Lost that pop up and stuff we like, too. That's the thing. Anyways, Pattinson better exclusively use batarangs to balance things out.
That's the thing. Here, to be fair, Pattinson's batarang was like the symbol in his chest, and he did use in a big climatic.
Right.
We at least
that was a good kind of trade-off.
That said, in the evolving early years of Batman thing that we are doing with the Batman, you'd imagine he would realize this thing came in handy. I should have a bunch of these.
Right. That's true.
You would imagine. It's basically two things. Okay, let me get more batarangs and acting lessons for Bruce Wayne.
God.
Okay. So, anyway, we're in the night vision view, which looks cool, and this is also, we're kind of building to the callback with our Joker scene coming up, which again is kind of like let sleeping dogs lie. So we're going night vision with it here. Also, this is kind of like maybe kind of an addressment of like, we had that Batman Joker fight at the end of the first season, which was in darkness, and maybe could have been shot a little more clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but against Batman, he's in shadows. It's kind of this thing. Regardless, we're kind of found an inventive way to do it here. And, Lockup's going around, and he says, like, I know why you're here, but why me? We're on the same side. And then we have this awesome reveal of Batman with a ski mask on, like punching him right in the face. You murdered countless innocent people. Bam, he's just basically Batman kind of getting a few barbs there, and then kind of darkness as they're fighting each other, like some headbutts going on. Like, no one is innocent, and headbutts him, and let's see, he's like, the people that run this place should be locked away too. They're all corrupt. The corrupt should be locked away. And Batman says, so do you. Like, basically, so do you. You need to be locked away too because you're crazy and you're killing people under my influence, which is not cool. And after Batman says, so they need to be locked away, so do you, he drops a big honking file cabinet on him, which is really
this
cool.
Is kind of like, it's almost veering into the territory of like, I don't need to say, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't need to save you.
There's a scene from a Batman comic this does remind me of. So the whole Nolan, like, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you thing. I never looked at the derivation of this, but there is it's obscure, but it's memorable. There's this moment where Batman took on KGBs. You remember KGBs, the guy, the big.
Of course, I remember KGBs, Dragon. Come on now.
So KGBs. There was an encounter Batman had with them where it ended with essentially Batman locking him in like a safe or something, and the implication being he would starve to death.
Oh shit! Oh god!
Now. Again, I haven't read that one firsthand. I always heard about that scene, and they said that's kind of maybe that was like in the 70s, I believe. It was a Denny O'Neil comics. It's a question of like KGB presumably did a lot of bad stuff up to that point. It's kind of the question of like, what KGB, I forget if it was a payoff to something KGBs did to someone else, so presumably he has the same chance of survival they had. So basically, if he's so clever and resourceful as he claims to be, he should be able to get at it. Otherwise, he's going to suffer. So it's more of that. That one's kind of a fair fate sort of thing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, I'm saying, but regardless of the whole, like, I don't have to save you. That's always kind of the gimme of like, well, I mean, it's Ra's al Ghul. He's probably going to be fine.
Sure.
I mean, he taught Batman everything he knows in that movie. He should be fine. Regardless.
All right. Well, in this instance, it's pretty much like it's not killing him, but it is leaving him in a very vulnerable position.
But again, Bolton brought on all that himself, though. He started the party.
True,
He
true.
locked everyone in there. He unlocked he unlocked the doors for the inmates, and he locked everyone in. That's that's what he did.
So
And
poor
now,
Lyle, man, he's on the ground. The camera's like on the floor facing him, and he's just Dragon. He's waxing poetic to himself. He's literally giving out his last will, saying like, "This is the end of Lyle Bolton."
then we have the ridiculous, very Tick-esque line here. It's just like, I always knew I'd go out like this. Like, really under a file cabinet?
And then, of course, Dragon, he has to curse himself by saying, "It can't get any worse."
And then this happens, and this
I'm
is
just
great.
like, as soon as he said that, I was like, Lyle, God damn it. Why do you have to say that, man? Come
Now,
on.
here's what you got to
Like,
know.
do you realize the, like how much of a powder keg of a situation you're literally in the middle of right now? Do you realize you're in a literal war zone right now, bro? Do you really want to take your chances with like, well, nothing bad. At least this is it. This is the worst.
I'm Lyle Bolton. Nothing bad ever happens to me. Did you? Let me ask you. Did you? When the moment he said that, did you expect Joker?
Oh yeah, of course
right?
I did. Of course.
Okay, cool. That's the thing. So this is really great. A couple of those. One, again, the fact that Batman and Joker are very key in the formation of Lyle Bolton in the first place. The fact that Batman has his encounter and the Joker right after. And this the fact that Joker is kind of like he and Batman, they're in the same building and they're kind of looking
They're
for
almost
each
like
other.
dogs chasing each other.
Yep, dog chasing cars.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I gotta say, Dragon, the Joker with the eyeshadow, but not the lip makeup or the white face paint, is probably the creepiest incarnation of his like different like states of makeup that we've seen yet.
That's the thing, because right now, like you said as you noted last time, he's it's kind of like that brief scene we saw of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
It's horrifying, Dragon. It's really disquieting.
Yep, he has to earn the make. He has to earn the lipstick. He's almost there. He's 2/3 of the way there. But yeah, so he shows up. What do we have here? And this is a callback. As I said, this whole thing, this encounter is a.
You know what really creeps me out about this scene?
What?
How much he's like wistfully just staring at Lyle, like he's got like a schoolboy crush on Lyle or something.
For sure. And again, that's how it all started. Where like Lyle just he was manhandling him. The whole
right.
He wouldn't just like keep facing forward. All that. He wouldn't. He got handsy with the clown.
I don't want to kill you. I like you,
which is great. Of course, we're working the iconic Joker dialogue.
Of course, yeah.
That too. But again, it was also this whole encounter, like them being in the night vision and Joker abusing Lyle. This is like from Let Sleeping Dogs Lie, in which he also remember there was some implication of that too. Remember he got in the bed with him.
Sure.
And like
my headcanon is that Joker has always been bisexual, Dragon.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not inaccurate. I'm just
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like Frank Miller's Joker is. That's the thing. Anyway,
dude's a freak. I'm not saying bisexuals are freaks. I'm just saying dude's a freak.
Yeah. Well, I still don't know if that wording's going to really help you out there, but okay. He is a freak, yes, but maybe not.
No, I know.
Okay, so the point being, we have the little set. It's a setup very similar to Let Sleeping Dogs Lie. There's a little bit of intimacy there, but there's also a lot of like, hey, I get that Lyle's completely helpless right now, and I'm going to enjoy beating him up. This is like, I don't want to kill you. I like you. And then we have this great bit here with them because he points out to everyone outside that he's kind of like put in this situation. Them, I'm not so sure about. They might kill you. Or they might like you too. Of course, implying this is a hugely dark implication, implying that they're basically going to go the Zack Snyder route. They're going to.
Oh no! Oh God! The really bad Zack Snyder route.
Basically, no, not just Zack Snyder. They're going to go Zack Snyder in the press. They're going to go basically interview Zack Snyder, which is the worst possible Zack Snyder.
Oh, I forgot. I actually forgot about that until you brought it up.
Yeah, well, you kept bringing it up so often.
I know. I kept bringing it up. I know.
That's the thing. So it's press junket Zack Snyder. That's the worst Zack Snyder. I hate.
Arguably, yes.
I gotta be honest. Like, of course, I will defend what I love. I love about Zack Snyder, but the Zack Snyder I can't stand is press junket Zack Snyder. I really can't stand him. I don't like him because I hate it when he always hides behind that one panel from Dark Knight Returns about, oh yeah, Batman kills people. Look at Dark Knight Returns. That was like one panel. It was like a mistake.
Right.
Okay, the animated movie fixed that. Anyway, so let's see. It really hurts me because the guy who directed the anime movie was a board artist on his stuff. Like, really, you had the same guy there, and he couldn't explain it to you. Anyway, so we have this. Though they might really like you. So he then brings up this. He pulls out a hand grenade. Says like, if you f lock up f's you.
I love that line.
Implying, okay, you might wonder if he's just gonna blow himself up with the Joker, but presumably, like, if anyone's gonna go, try to have their way with Lyle, he's just gonna blow him up. And then we have this great line: "Let's not blow things out of proportion." I'm convinced.
Again, it makes me wonder if they're going through and literally just checking off every line of his from The Dark Knight.
I think ultimately they are, but also
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
it's funny that there's a double entendre in this one as well, too, if you think about it. Plus, I think at the end he says, "Let's not blow things out of proportion yet."
Oh God.
So yeah. Anyway, so let's see. So Joker now he steals some of his weapons. I don't know if he had any guns on him because Batman disarmed him earlier. But he grabs a few grenades. Joker with hand grenades. That's not good.
No, absolutely not.
Anyway, so let's see. So Lockup is afraid of being conscious while being violated. Really dark territory we went here. So he begs the Joker to knock him out. Thinking back,
that is pretty dark implications there.
And of course, just pleading with him, just taking advantage of any goodwill he has with Joker. Has made his life filled with misery and woe. Baseball time. I don't have the bat on me, which is ironic out of context. There, no bats. Of course.
Right.
Batman not being there and him being an amateur Batman, not having the bat symbolism. He says, "Well, I guess it's football then." This is I love how clever that line is. "Oh, I guess it's football then." He kicks him in the face. Go to sleep. All right. So then Jack Ryder and company they walk through and they find their camera.
And Jack Ryder is so opportunistic about this. I love it.
Cammy, come home.
Oh God.
All right.
He's like Jack Black in Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Yeah, there you go. So, Ted is leading the way to their escape because he knows the lay of the land. He's really resourceful. The camera, however, is running out of tape.
Yeah, and I love. So this is probably my favorite bit in the whole episode. Honestly, this whole bit of like, Summer and Ted are trying to figure out how to basically Dragon. Essentially, how I view this is. It's essentially like the hallway fight from Guardians 3 that they're getting themselves into.
Pretty much.
And Jack Ryder, he's worried about one thing and one thing only, which is running out of tape.
Yep.
And he's like persistently trying to interrupt this very important conversation about how to essentially get out of a Marvel hallway fight. And I love the editing choice of just us cutting to it's a very economic choice.
Yeah, but there's no way they were going to be able to have like 100 inmates in that.
Of course. But I love the implication of it, though.
Yeah, because again, this isn't the actual Dark Knight Rise in which we actually hire thousands of extras, the cops and mercenaries and
right.
But so they so we kind of cut to the aftermath where he somehow found a tape and he reloaded it, and then we have this gag where they come out and he's all Ted's all bloody up. Says no, it's just pizza sauce because they pass through the cafeteria. So it's gonna get messy and everything. He probably did kill a whole bunch of people though with that shotgun. So we have this. We have this gag. This is really cute to me, Tiki. This is a nice, cute little reference. It's a nod to 3 Minutes to Midnight, where Joker and Ted have their big shootout in the parking garage, which is always a spectacular. I love that as a climax of that story. I thought it was wonderful. And you have this gag where he says to Ted, "Tell me you got that," after he like the cool like hokey pokey moment. When he's shooting the gun and everything. You do the hokey pokey, and the whole thing. So it's kind of Ted again becoming like his mentor, becoming one could say Joker's proud of his boy. Yep. Or I guess in this case, he's proud of his bum.
Yep.
Anyway, so he is like, "Tell me you got some of that," which of course is kind of a fun fusion where Ted's like the best cameraman, as we've established. Jack Ryder, terrible cameraman. He missed
Pretty
all the stuff
much.
from the wedding.
I mean, you admire Jack Ryder's like commitment, but that's about it. That's about the only thing he's got going for him, is that he's not going to give up on the job.
I mean, he almost got that Two-Face footage. He was going for it.
Right.
Which would have been huge. All right, so anyways, let's see. So I like that we call out the focus thing. Like, I can't tell if we're out of focus or if it's the blood loss. All right, so basically the plan is they're going to take the tunnel to like the ravine spillway that will lead you to the Narrows and back to civilization. Well, Narrows it's not a better situation. Narrows is terribly horribly.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like the idea of that, where it's like they're barely out of Dodge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which geographically is still very in line with Nolan's setup, because you go to the Narrows to get to Arkham. So yeah. All right, so let's see. Then we have this beautiful. So they get on the other side of it, and then Ted's going to go back in, but because he's still got a job to do with the Lex thing. And before he does, Summer's asking him, after all this, why did you help? And of course, interrupts her. Yes, he's an unwashed homeless man, but there's passion there. He kisses Summer on the lips like from the movies. Interrupts her mid sentence and has this beautiful line, this perfect line that we've set up since the beginning with this character. "I used to be your husband." How did you feel about that moment?
It was a nice little payoff. I won't lie. It was nice.
The fact that his whole half the reason he was in the state is because his wife left him, and he kind of had that little moment with her, and it was like through the whole vein of like, "I used to be this, I used to be that, I used to be your husband," and he leaves, and we don't dwell on it either. We don't it just happened, and we moved on.
Yeah.
So Summer and Jack, they're walking down to the Narrows until Jack can't walk anymore.
And I got to admit, man, it's not like they paint Jack in an entirely sympathetic light at any point, but this was kind of like a worthy death scene for him, I think.
I mean, Jack was growing on us for sure with like how he was interacting with Lex Luthor in Technical Difficulty.
Yeah, exactly.
He was dim, but Lex kind of could open up to him. That was kind of impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's dying. We're kind of doing almost like a Winter Soldier framing of the shot here. When like he dragged Cap back onto the beach, onto the riverbed, and so Jack's dying, and they had what are his last words, Tiki?
Oh God, I'm sorry, I don't have them written down.
Well, it's very. Was I a good cameraman?
Oh right, of course.
And she says the best. I mean, she lies to him. It's sad though. It's a sad death.
Yeah.
He dies. She grabs the camera. She's about to go on, we must, the troops keep marching home, sort of thing. And the show must go on, sort of thing. And then we have this bit where she looks up and she sees Lex Luthor's helicopter flying away.
After all that, no interview. No drink?
Yeah.
No drink?
Beat me by 2 seconds. I'm sorry. But it's your joke, so you should be.
Fair enough.
Yep. All right, and that's where the episode ends.
All right. So yeah, Dragon, like I said, I don't think it lives up to it's not like the best found footage episode of the season or anything, but it's still a pretty worthy kind of culmination of that side of things. Very good kind of setups for Jack Ryder's death and lockup and everything. Still kind of feels like a little bit of a chess piece episode where we're kind of moving some pieces into place, but I'm looking forward to seeing where everything pays off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Overall, I mean, again, I agree. I don't think it's as spectacular as Technical Difficulties, the other found footage episodes.
Technical Difficulties had the balls to actually show a mob scene.
That's true. It did.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So it's, this episode is, again, Yeah, I'm a little conflicted because I've never fully agreed with the take on Lockup once we gave him the costume, but it's not. I like the costume. Just the whole characterization started with the costume. We kind of. I kept meaning to look into this. I'll confirm it next time we do one of these because I was a little preoccupied. I'm going to check and see if it's the darndest thing because the performance is so diametrically opposite. I think they recast Lyle because he is very different. He has like a beard now, but initially I thought it was Lyle was pitched down in the first season, which that always made me think we just didn't pitch him down this season, and it sounds enough like the guy that it was him. So I'd have to double check that because if it's him, he let his hair grow out like a lot, like even beyond the beard. But I think it's a different actor. I'm gonna try and verify that. But regardless, because of my feelings on Lockup, I'm a little honestly Lockup and Jack Ryder. It's interesting. This episode takes the two characters I felt in a sense were the weakest links of the Joker blogs. Again, Lyle more in the back half, not the whole time. Just
Sure,
in this
sure.
half. But Jack Ryder the whole time is always a weak link character for me. And they did make me care, and I do see on the rewatch, like revisiting it with a fine tooth comb, I do see a lot of benefits that we do with the Lockup story, and obviously the Batman and Joker encounter that he has is quite spectacular. And again, with the found footage and what we're doing, like aesthetically, I love what we're doing with this episode, but it's still not a top tier episode for me within season 2. So I get the feeling.
All right. Okay, well, big thanks to Richard's Victims for being in the comments, man. Appreciate it as always. Well, our time is up, and it's time to reseal the further evidence until our next session when we attempt to answer the question, is there a method to the madness? With the Joker Blogs case study.
Guess it's football then.
How am I supposed to eat this pizza without my drink?